Greetings, Professor Falken. Hello, Joshua. A strange game. The only winning rule is not to play. How about a nice game of chess? I'm John Renton with the retro review of WarGames from 1983. Me oh my, what a classic this still is, 40 plus years later. Matthew Broderick, Ali Sheedy, and director John Badham. A bad ham I am, a bad ham I am. It is directed by John Badham. Okay, that rhyme doesn't work, but nevertheless, if John Badham is a name that doesn't sound familiar, let me name these movies. Saturday Night Fever, Saturday Night Fever, Night Fever. We know how to do it. Yeah, I can't dance at all. The 1979 Dracula movie, as well as Blue Thunder, as well as American Flyers, not St. Hell Knows Fire, that would be the Tyler Perry version, as well as Short Circuit, yes, Johnny Five Alive. They came out, I believe, a year or two after The Last Starfighter. Fun fact about The Last Starfighter that has nothing to do with this, that was directed by the guy that played Michael Myers, Nick Castle himself. Back to John Badham. He also did Stakeout, Another Stakeout, Point of No Return, Nick of Time, which is a strange movie. He also did Drop Zone with Wesley Snipes, and he's done a bunch of television. This is written by two people, Walter F. Parks, who did Sneakers, and also Lawrence Lasker. Man, you might need some Lasker surgery just to take off a few of those roles. He also did Sneakers, and they both also did WarGames, The Dead Code, in the sense that they had characters that, they use characters inspired by this particular movie. So, yeah, they actually did a pseudo-sequel to WarGames, in the sense they use WarGames in the title. So, yes, Matthew Broderick is David Lightman, who is a well-to-do individual that is so smart and very nerdy and uses a lot of technology from the early 1980s to hack into a computer system and play some games, and unfortunately ends up causing a computer to simulate World War III. This, of course, was during the Cold War, even if by the end of the 80s, essentially, the Cold War was over. Yeah, we still had shit going on with the Soviets and all that, so we decided, let's just get in the NORAD, let's just launch some missiles, let's do all this shit. So this movie is a fucking classic in every goddamn sense of the word. I had a great goddamn time revisiting this. It's actually currently free on YouTube if you're a YouTube Premium member. It's also free on Tubi. Every movie is free on Tubi, but that being said. So, Ali Sheedy is in this as Jennifer, the love interest, shall we say, when Ali Sheedy was on the ascent. You have Dabney Coleman, who plays McKittrick. I don't know why that name makes me laugh. You have Falken, John Wood. I always mistakenly thought David Warner was in this, but I also have not seen this movie for 15 to 20 fucking years, at least in full. You do have Barry Corbin, who's General, not Tom Berenger. And you have Wanon Clay, may she rest in peace. She apparently died in 1995. Kent Williams, Dennis Lipscomb, and John Dorsey. And yeah, it's a fucking great movie with some good tension and just the fact that it's breezy and doesn't really waste any time. It's like an hour and 52 minutes. It flows by pretty goddamn good, overall, even some 42 years later. Now, is it a bit silly? Sure. Is there a bit of goofy music? Yes. But each scene means something and it flows so goddamn well. So it did have a $12 million budget, which would be $38.2 million in today's money. $6.2 million opening, so pretty good. That'd be $19.7 million in today's money. And the gross, $79.5 million. So that'd be $253.5 million in today's money. So that's pretty goddamn good. So, they filmed some parts in Washington State. I recognize where the phone booth scene was. I have actually been on that particular stretch of road. I haven't seen the phone booth in a while, but I recognize some of the environs and everything. I actually think that the barn they had in the background is still there. We don't waste a lot of shit here. So, Anderson, that's me, Island, as well as Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon, by the way, is an easy town to get to and hard to navigate, only because there are a lot of hills and a lot of old parts, and it goes right into Burlington, and Washingtonians know what I'm talking about. As well as Steilacoom, or I'm just going to call it Stellacoom because it's funnier. Seattle, Darrington. Nobody wants to go to Darrington. Darrington doesn't want to be in Darrington. As well as Lake Chelan. The University of Washington in Seattle, by the way, the Cascades, as well as New Halem, and just a lot of, and Colorado Springs. And basically the bottom line is I recognize a few of these particular locations. Even though it is 42 years old, I recognize some of these locations. When they open with they have a shot near the beginning of the movie where it's the Space Needle. See, you can tell it's Seattle. So, the 80s, when blinking lights and blips and beeps and goofy hair was king. We have two guys that are going to do a simulation to turn keys and launch missiles. Well, one guy won't, and then another guy pulls a gun on him. Because, that's always kind of fun when you just get to that point that you're going to pull a gun on somebody to tell them to turn their key. I have become Death Destroyer of Models because they show the part of the... they show the missile there. And we cut to the credits. The typing out of the credits is very, very nice. NORAD, home of very, very slimy, icky tunnels. And it actually was pretty nice. They used, lavish sets, lavish pieces and stuff like that. And the Cold War being in full effect, Dusty Rhodes naturally would book somebody, a team named NORAD to get the win, get the tag team championship. Only wrestling fans of a long bygone and long foregone era will actually know who the fuck Dusty is. This is only a test, but 22% of the people have failed. They wouldn't turn their keys. Oh no! So, let the computer cover is what McKittrick says. Let them cover for the human error, because that's a great idea. God, what could possibly go wrong? Everything, McKittrick. Everything. So these computers have over 500 bytes of RAM. As an MST3K reference, if you know which one. I love you guys. It's WOPR. That's the War Operation Plan Response, that is. And it simulates World War III 24 hours a day. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being prepared, but could you not give that computer something else to do? It would drive itself mad with its own artificial intelligence. So, General Behringer is against using machines, at least to this point, and he kind of has a reason to feel that way. And the Space Needle, I've been there. The Space Needle kind of sucks, in all honesty. Broderick actually apparently got sent arcade units of Galaxian and Galaga to practice the technology parts, I guess. I don't know why, because he only played it a little bit, but I guess the idea is he's playing these games, wanting to get used to the tech and stuff like that. I miss arcade games. There actually are a few arcade places. One in town and a couple within driving distance, but there used to be a great one at the mall. It used to be that X-Men arcade game, Welcome to Die. I am Magneto, Master of Magnet. Great translations. Great translations. So anyway, there's a scene where Ali Sheedy, Jennifer is there. She's laughing a whole bunch. And David sneaks into class, but the teacher sees him. Talks about, what do you know? What was the original, origin of asexuality? What was the original person, what was the origin? Your wife? And he got in trouble for that. To be fair, it was funny, but we didn't smash cut to the fact there's a dog. There is a dog in this movie that unfortunately is long since dead. Poor dog. I hope that dog had a great life. Clearly, David and Jennifer are meant to be together. They do get together, kind of, but they don't make it an overarching story. Or at least they don't make it too much of a dominant story. And man, floppy disks, I remember those. God, that's how old I am. I mean, I was born in 81, so I remember some of this shit. Because there was still some of this technology being used when I was doing computer classes in the mid to later 90s. Yeah, we didn't have all the touch screens and all the, the fast internet that you kids have these days. You kids get off my lawn. God, I sound so old saying that. The mother works for Century 21 Realty. Man, I miss Century 21. Push button phoning! So, God, so much nostalgia in this. So he has a computer set up. He actually sees a thing called Protovision. This is back when you had to look in magazines, by the way, to order your technology instead of looking online to look for other technology. You actually had to go through lengths and widths and other, avenues to find technology, kids. So He then manages to hack into the system, and then, finds the games and not push button, find the global thermonuclear war. Because he talks to Joshua, he pretends to be somebody else. He pretends to be Dr. Falken. Quick, let's invade the Falkens again. And yeah, Falken ended up having a computer, a computer that could teach itself and everything. It was based off his son Joshua. But yeah, there's something called Falken's Maze. You get through that, you can get a backdoor into the government computer at NORAD. Pretty easy to hack into this shit. Good thing that doesn't happen anymore. And yeah, let's play global thermonuclear war. Well, that's not going to end too well, but nevertheless. I do like the phone trick that he has where he can, dial and figure out a whole bunch of numbers and stuff like that. He uses a speaker box hooked into the computer to translate, or give a voice to the computer, but it's just saying out what is being typed. And then Juan Clay's character ends up saying, we managed to trace the general area. It's Seattle, Washington. Oh, sure, blame us for it. Okay, he was there. Well, good to know. I said, sorry, carry on. And what is the primary directive? The primary directive is to win the game. And it turns out that David realizes he fucked all the way up. And now, after playing the game for a bit and the game got disconnected, it didn't get disconnected, just on one end. So now, we got 52 hours and change left until bad shit happens. And yeah, they get him about halfway through. He easily hacked into a government's computer, so naturally that is a crime for them being incompetent. And McKittrick tries to reason with David. They lock him in a room, basically. But he says, Joshua called me. David, machines don't call people. Yours did. Very snide. Matthew Broderick was great in this. And David tries to reason with Joshua, but nope, Joshua's going to carry on with this whole thing because he may not be Falken, because Falken's dead, except he's not dead. He just faked his own death, or was given a chance to fake his own death to go live on an island. To be fair, there are some isolated areas here in Washington on the water that you actually could live your life out and people wouldn't know you're around. In fact, that sounds very tempting. If I had high-speed internet out there, I'd be tempted to do that. Just give me access to movies and everything. Give me access to a theater and I would never have to leave. Just give me a home theater system. Nevertheless, he finds out that Falken is under another name, Robert Hume. He is at Goose Island, Oregon, which is quite the distance from me. And he ends up using a tape recorder to record the beats of the numbers being dialed in for this code that's locked him in this room. He does that. He escapes down a hatch, escapes with this tour group, gets out, calls Jennifer on this phone, using a trick and everything because he doesn't have any change. Smart kid. And ends up basically getting her to wire some money so he rather can go to Goose. He can get a ticket from Colorado Springs, that's where he's at, all the way to Salem, Oregon, and then go to Goose Island. She decides to go with him. And there we are. They basically share a kiss on the ferry. Oh, it's so adorable. And Falken, for whatever reason, decides to use a pterodactyl glider camera satellite thing for some reason. I guess he's just gone insane. I actually was hoping dinosaurs would have shown up in this movie. So, he talks about all the games and stuff like that. He talks about the fact that, hey, did you play tic-tac-toe when you were a kid? Yeah, why'd you stop? Well, it's a boring game. There's also no real way to win. If you have two smart people, there's no real way to win unless you let somebody win. Because you start with an X in the middle, and then you go with an O. Then you can go with an X over here. You go with an O here. And then you go with an X there. The bottom line is there's no real way to win if you have any intelligent people. But he's given up. Falken's just totally given up. The ferry's left. They've decided, we're just gonna go. Let's swim for it, Jennifer says. No, I can't swim. What kind of asshole grows up in Seattle and doesn't know how to swim? You bitch, I don't know how to swim very well. That's a fun fact about me. I also like to avoid water, quite frankly, not because of shrinkage. How dare you accuse me of that? No one say anything about shrinkage. I didn't. Shut up. But Falken decides to help them because he realizes, I probably should do something about this. This computer I designed that's going to end up causing the world to be flattened because we may be vaporized, but other people will not be, and they'll suffer. So we can't let people suffer. We only have like about 20 minutes left of the movie at this point, by the way. He has a helicopter, they go off, and this guy, I assume this guy either, Falken either has his own helicopter or called in a favor to this one guy because there's another guy there as a pilot. They're suddenly in a Jeep racing through, trying to get to NORAD before all the gates and the doors lock because they're going down to DEFCON 1. Everything is all goddamn fucked. And now they are trying to stop Joshua. Behringer is like, McKittrick, your machines suck. What the hell's wrong with you? McKittrick doesn't have a very good retort. I do want to say terrific acting in this movie, by the way. And, yeah, Falken just does what he's... Falken, shows up. It's like, Mr. Falken, you picked a hell of a day to show up. Or a hell of a day to visit, that is. So now the idea is Joshua, okay, maybe he can be stopped. Except he can't be. He's going to figure out this code. He's going to figure out the launch codes. And he is going to launch all these missiles. Because sure, the Soviets aren't launching. Joshua doesn't know that, and he's going to win this game. So not so fast. He's figuring this out. Cracking these codes. Numbers, letters. Gradually getting going. Ticking down to the goddamn wire. And the password instead of Joshua is games. They type in games. They look for all these games. They try to play chess. They try to play all this stuff. And wait, tic-tac-toe. They type that in. How many players? They keep playing this stuff. Is there a way to make it play itself? Yeah, players 0. Player 0 does all this. This power is like going crazy. Which is kind of funny as I'm saying this because we're getting a windstorm as of right now and in through tomorrow and early Tuesday. Which means I may not have power by the time this goes live. But that being said, does all this, and then he goes quiet and says, hello, Joshua. Or it's like, hello, greetings, Professor Falken. Hello, Joshua. A strange game. The only winning move is not to play. How about a nice game of chess? And it literally ends right there. I mean, it literally just, boom, that's it. That is it. It just ends. I mean, we get the credits, everybody's celebrating and stuff like that, but it really goes down to the wire before we end that. And it's really a terrific goddamn movie. It's very entertaining. It has some good suspense about it. Nobody's really going to blow up. At least you think you know that, but you just think, oh boy, they might actually do something. Nope. Can't do that. The point is, parents, raise your kids better so they don't become machines and take over the planet. I don't think that's actually the point, but that's why I hate children. Yeah, nevertheless, agree, disagree what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Ritland, and I'll see you soon.